Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in a game between Ted versus Sky here on Amazonia. We see Ted spawning as the yellow undead player on the top right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, middle student, also known as Sky, spawning on the bottom left hand side of the map as the red human. This is going to be human versus undead here on Amazonia, game 1 in a series. And if the game does look a little bit different to you, it is definitely because this is an HNC map. In addition to being able to see the total resources, the supply in terms of their army, they did decide to zoom out in terms of the game just a little bit. And this is not something that I can control, so you will have to bear with me. Oh, I guess that did fix it. Oh, that's kind of cool. Alright, so rolling the camera down and rolling the camera back up actually does zoom everything back into their normal places. Now, let's take a look at the strategies. Let's take a look. Actually, no, it actually feels like I zoomed too far in now. Oh, alright. It's going to be a little bit difficult to actually keep track of these battles as the game does move on. Now, I am expecting an nope, it is actually going to be a Mountain King coming out from Sky. So Sky opting to go for a Mountain King. Meanwhile, let's see what we are going to have from the undead Ted. He is utilizing that Death Knight. I did want to cast a different series at first, but unfortunately, the players were playing under different names, and it was a mirror match. I think it was it was Fly versus Lin, but they were both playing under pseudonyms, so I wouldn't really be able to tell who was who, and I thought I would just end up tripping all over myself in that particular game. Now, Mountain King should be coming around that 2-minute mark. We are going to have that one scout tower, which is very standard if you are expecting an undead player to harass you. The Death Knight will be popping out, most likely selling the Scroll of Town Portal, picking up a Rod of Necromancy, and then he has two options. Either A, try to limit the experience that Sky is going to be getting, or B, try and creep on his own. And it looks like he's going to be limiting experience, not selling the Scroll of Town Portal, going to be picking up that Rod of Necromancy. The 5-3-3 creep camp should fall in time, but the Death Knight is moving rather quickly across the map. Is the Death Knight going to make it, perhaps steal it with a Death Coil? I don't believe so, no. Sky is able to finish everything off, as now we do see a fresh group of militia making their way over. Alright, a 3-1-1 creep camp is all that is left now. Is the Death Knight perhaps going to be able to get off the necessary kills here, as we are, or perhaps will be seeing skeletal minions rise up? No. 3 skeletal minions or 3 skeletons down there, and they will not be rising up, as the Death Knight now waiting for that Death Coil and does get it. The item, Cloak of Shadows, being picked up by that Mountain King. The Death Knight stealing a little bit of experience, but not very much. We're going to see, I believe that was a dead frog there, as the Death Knight now moving away across the map is a little bit faster even without Unholy Aura, and we'll see where exactly he travels to. There's a lot of critters on this map, I must admit, and the only real race that benefits from critters is the undead. So perhaps Amazonia, the Amazon, having so many lovely animals that you can just turn into human skeletons. I don't quite understand it. Also, if you take a look at this, you can also see what skills each of the Mountain Kings and the Death Knight is using. Mountain King does have level 1 Stormbolt and level 1 Bash, so we will not be seeing Thunderclap come in. Now, meanwhile, if you take a look at the Death Knight, which is off over here, does have a level 1 Death Coil, as we are also seeing a Boots of Speed now being transferred to that Mountain King. Mountain King buying Boots of Speed, actually selling the Scroll of Town Portal, but he also does have a Staff of Teleportation. This could be a bad creep jack, though, as the Mud Golem will get taken down. The good thing about this particular creep camp, though, is that the Rock Golem is magic immune, meaning that Death Coils will not be able to take it down here. Is the Mountain King going to get that experience, or is it going to be that Death Knight? And oh, the Mountain King comes in with a Bash at the perfect time to get the last hit there. Potion of Greater Mana now on that Mountain King. But this was some very, very important play. Oh, skeletal minions are coming in. It looks like more skeletal minions will get taken down. Is Sky going to be able to get up to level 3? No, he is not. And that's really what he wanted to do. He wanted to get to level 3 in order to be able to Stormbolt and really harass this gold mine. Without getting level 3, though, those Stormbolts are not going to be dealing nearly as much damage. And it looks like it will end up delaying. That was a small victory for Ted, being able to steal some more experience and really denying that Mountain King true harassment. Alright, Troll, the Berserker is now down. We are going to see double Cloak of Shadows. I guess you can hide in the night of the night, so to speak, as the Mountain King now making his way off to the north. Is he going to harass, or is he perhaps going to try to do some stealing of his own? Alright, Ted does have one Crypt Fiend with Lightning Shield surrounding him. Does a little bit of damage as the Mountain King now makes its way over, hunting for perhaps his opponent who is creeping and cannot find him. Pretty much a full array of items on that Mountain King so far, as he is dancing around, dancing back and forth. Only 2 footmen here, as we see more footmen down here, perhaps waiting to regroup with the rest of that army. Mountain King still battling it out. Both sides do not want to engage Ted. He will be engaging on Blight, helping him regenerate all of his hit points rather quickly, as we are now transitioning into a slaughterhouse. Alright, Renegade Wizard Purge onto the Death Knight, as the Skeletal Minions will take down this Renegade Wizard rather easily. Mountain King still looking to perhaps launch in some Stormbolts, but has not found his opponent just quite yet. Mountain King does come around over here, does get a little bit of damage from those Crypt Fiend attack, and still trying to figure out where he is going to be traveling to next. Footmen looking to back away. Mountain King and Footmen all down over here. Are we perhaps going to see a little bit of creepjacking, as Sky is not utilizing his time very well at all? He needs to retreat with some of these lower hit point footmen. He does have a Goblin Shredder to make up for the fact that many of his peasants are currently building or harvesting lumber, and that shouldn't be a problem there. But I can't exactly see what Sky is trying to do. Ted has a definite advantage. He has a level 2 and a level 1 hero. He also has the range on those Crypt Fiends, meaning that he could probably just launch another Death Coil at that one low hit point footman there, takes it down. And this Mountain King still hasn't done much of anything. He does have Dust of Appearance, as Ted is known to research Burrow on Crypt Fiends, making it very difficult to take down these Crypt Fiends. Ted now backing away. It looks as though, yes, the frost armor was the skill of choice coming in on that Lich, so it's going to be very difficult for the footmen to take those units down, as they are going to be significantly slowed. Alright, Arcane Vault will be pressured down here, most likely just going to get cancelled. The Crypt Fiends are now making their way over, taking down guard towers before they are even up, as we now see a Lich is surrounded in that frost armor. There's a Death Coil saving the Crypt Fiend, and you can see the slowed effect, how much damage it is mitigating just because of the units. There is that Dust of Appearance. There's the Stormbolt, the 225 damage Stormbolt coming in from that Mountain King, and the Dust of Appearance, a very good investment to take down a low hit point Crypt Fiend. Both sides are still fighting it out. Obsidian Statue is healing. Mass frost armor across multiple units, making it very difficult for these Crypt Fiends to actually fall. I believe there was another Stormbolt. There is that Crypt Fiend going to fall down to 122 hit points, and he is going to burrow, and oh, there's the Dust of Appearance, forcing another Crypt Fiend to fall here. But now things are going to start to go in the favor of Ted. Ted does have level 2 Death Coil, and it is going to save that Crypt Fiend once more. Both sides still fighting it out. Footmen are engaging. The footmen are rather slow at this stage, and the skeletal minions are having a very easy time taking these slow moving footmen out. Once they attack that Crypt Fiend, they are slow debuffed, as we now see an Arcane Vault taking a lot of damage. Crypt Fiends once again getting forced to engage here. It looks like one of those footmen will get taken down. Ted now being forced to micro back, and we should be seeing a Death Coil come in on that Crypt Fiend once more. There's that frost armor. And this fight is not going well for Sky. Ted still with double Obsidian Statues with Crypt Fiends. The Lich still has plenty of mana, and will continue to have that as he is getting more and more mana from that Obsidian Statue in the back. Alright, we also see peasants in the back. They are taking a bit of damage. Meanwhile, the Mountain King looking to do a bit of a counterattack. Is that meat wagon going to be able to retreat? I don't believe so. Getting off 1 or 2 final attacks there, as the Mountain King now sitting at level 3. Alright, 1 Crypt Fiend, 1 Nerubian Tower, 1 Halls of the Dead, and that is going to be a lot of slow, but the ghouls are working, and now coming off the mineral or the lumber line in order to clear out more of this. You can see that the Obsidian Statues are going to be clearing away this Arcane Vault. There are still plenty of guard towers here, though, so Ted cannot allow this Mountain King to run amok inside this base. You can see one meat wagon now firing back. The meat wagon does move relatively slowly, as we are going to see a retreat now. Are the footmen going to be able to retreat? That is the question, as all the units are now trying to make their way out. One low hit point footman now squeezing out through the lumber line. It looks like it will get taken down. Oh, able to barely survive this, as we now see the footman trying to get away. Is he perhaps going to hop a ride? Yes, he will, and fly away to live and fight another day. Death Knight now trying to give chase, will not be able to do so. The Mountain King does have those boots of speed, as Sky now is sitting at keep, should be able to get up a second hero, perhaps a blood mage, and really start that pressure. Death Knight sitting at level 3, Lich sitting at level 2, going up against a single level 3 Mountain King. Even if that Mountain King was level 4, it is not going to be enough. There's the Death Coil to ensure that there is no steal there, as now the Mountain King buys some new items. Tome of Agility +2, it will get picked up. Ted wanting that additional armor there, as the Death Knight perhaps is going to be using that replenishment potion for more mana. Mountain King is still sitting off over here. It is going to be backing away. Footman trying to engage will not be able to, since the Halls of the Dead did add a Spirit Tower nearby, adding in more damage still. Alright, there's that Frost Nova. There's the slow debuff, as Sky going to be losing another footman there. We are sitting at a whole bunch of towers, and I'm still surprised that we are not at Black Citadel yet. Normally, double slaughterhouses would indicate that you would want to go into Black Citadel. Mountain King now trying to get away. Is it going to be able to get away? A little bit of slow there. No, a new Acolyte now being trained up, as the Mountain King down to 300 and 161 hit points. There's the Stormbolt, and is it going to be able to get away? That is the question. Wow, the timing on that Mountain King, beautifully done, utilizing that potion of invulnerability just as it was about to die. Mountain King will be able to heal back up once more, but the problem is the Arcane Sanctums are now just building Spellbreakers. I still do not see any priests. Mountain King gonna take a little bit of time. There's a Clarity Potion as well. Both sides still fighting it out. Death Knight, Ted playing beautifully in this series, gonna clean up this Rock Golem, and now perhaps set up an expansion of his own. Level 3, level 2 versus 3-2 or 3-3 now, coming on from the Undead side. Both sides are still fighting it out here. Meat Wagons dealing a lot of damage, and any time that Ted wants to engage, he will be able to engage and force a fight with these two Meat Wagons. Back over here, we are seeing more and more Meat Wagons still being constructed. This is a mass tier 2 push that we are taking a look at here, as the Mountain King just got to level 4. We are now sitting on a Blood Mage. Blood Mage, that second hero, will be able to siphon mana and perhaps shut down both that Lich and that Death Knight. Death Knight only sitting at 180 mana so far, as the Arcane Vault will be falling relatively quickly. It is going to fall here in just a second, and now these Meat Wagons will have to work overtime to try and take down this Town Hall. Town Hall is going to be desperately repaired. Are the peasants going to start repairing? That is the question. Meanwhile, we are also seeing the Mountain King and the Blood Mage moving along off to the north. We can see, are we seeing some mass repairing? Yes, we are, but Sky does not have enough to repair this, since there are Meat Wagons dealing additional siege damage. And not only are there some Meat Wagons, there's 4 Meat Wagons. Now coming in, we can see the Mountain King just running amok in the gold mine area, taking down one Acolyte. Second Acolyte already down. Mountain King could take down a third here in just a second. There's a Stormbolt for the third. Footman finish off the fourth. And here we have the Death Knight trying to lead the charge back home. This is not looking good. Meanwhile, the Blood Mage could easily just start giving more mana to that Mountain King, as a Death Coil does hit the Mountain King from rather far away. Here comes the attack. Spellbreakers now coming in. Mountain King still taking a lot of damage, trying to hide in the backfield. There's that siphon mana, and that Death Knight unable to do anything except for lose a whole bunch of mana, as that Mountain King does back off. More Acolytes do need to be trained back up. We can see Meat Wagons now trying to run away from a Goblin Shredder. That Shredder is just taking down so many of these Meat Wagons. Too bad there was no turtles on this map to take care of Shredder. Shredder now backing down over here, perhaps going to harvest lumber over here at the natural expansion. So there's a little bit more of a tanky defense. Goblin Zeppelin is in the air. Mountain King sitting at level 4. Blood Mage sitting at level 1. Goblin Shredder is in a little bit of trouble here. Is it going to be able to be repaired? As we are going to see the attack. There is that Frost Armor. Crypt Fiend. Oh, Death Coil onto a low hit point. Mountain King already using a Scroll of Healing. Perhaps should have saved a Crypt Fiend instead, as there is still plenty of fight left in that Mountain King at this time. All right, more and more meat wagons still trying to launch, I guess, corpses at that town hall. Both sides fighting it out. Spellbreakers giving chase, and the Mountain King able to escape once more at 379 hit points, as we now see some more Siphon mana coming in. Frost Nova, Death Knight pretty much out of mana and still trying to engage. And oh, we have Web on the Goblin Zeppelin, as the Blood Mage is now back out once again. There's the Siphon mana. I thought you couldn't actually channel an ability while you had the Potion of Invulnerability on, so that was a bit of a surprise there. There's some more Siphon mana once again. There's the Death Coil. Down goes the Blood Mage. We could have expected that, as the Mountain King has enough for 2 Stormbolts still. Spellbreakers, Meat Wagons still dancing around. Are we going to see more Crypt Fiends pop up? No Abominations in this group to actually deal with the Spellbreakers. And with that, I think Sky is actually in a very, very bad situation once again. Sky is very well fortified here. If they were actually within tower range, there are still 2 meat wagons, forcing many of those units to just sit there still. Once again, we are going to see another Crypt Fiend take down a Spellbreaker. Even though the Spellbreakers do have medium armor, the Crypt Fiends can still dwindle or deal enough damage eventually if you have superior numbers. Alright, Death Knight comes in, gets a Death Coil off, takes a Stormbolt for his effort. Mountain King now trying to slide off to the north once again. The Spellbreaker's going straight for that Meat Wagon. The Meat Wagon down to 60 hit points. Is it going to be repaired? That is the question there, as the Meat Wagon now down to 13 and, oh, down to 3 hit points. It does finally fall. And after all of that, the Spellbreakers are simply just going to retreat and return home. The Spellbreakers immune to the Obsidian statue attack, as we are now down to our final Meat Wagon. A new Meat Wagon there to take its place. We can see more Meat Wagons still once again being trained. Sky is in trouble. If Sky loses this town hall, he is pretty much going to lose any advantage that he worked so hard to get. Mountain King looks like he's ready to go. We have a level 4, level 3 for Ted. Meanwhile, Sky sitting at level 4, level 1. And there is enough meat wagons here to stop this attack. Is the Mountain King going to be able to engage? Yes, he does, trying to take down that Death Knight. The Death Knight does have enough mana. And there is the GG. Sky actually outscoring his opponent, but would have ended up losing that game. There is no gold banner here for some reason, indicating who the victor is. Perhaps that is because this is a custom map. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 1 in this series.